We're going to start with a little video to kick things off, so I want to set the stage here a little bit.
Well, honestly, I didn't really know anything about biking. All I really knew was riding around the neighborhood on my little Schwinn growing up. Same with the kids. One of the things you had was that you wanted to check out our bikes. And did not realize they were completely the wrong size for the kids. And as soon as y'all got them on the right bike that fit and functioned as it needed to, it just was like, they liked biking them. They didn't really like it. It was fine. It was something to do. But they got on the right bike and they were like, wow, this is awesome. And then y'all became like a community, and we met so many people out of it that it became almost like another like family. And then I got involved because the kids wanted me to start riding with them. So I took a couple of classes from one of your coaches, and I got myself a mountain bike from you guys, and I got into it, and it's just grown into something that we now do probably 4 to 5 days a week.
No way.
We're out as a family riding.
That's awesome.
And Liz came into our shop because she signed up her kids to one of our camps, one of our bike camps. So she came in, and sure enough, the bikes were too small, they weren't well maintained, they were the wrong bikes for what she was trying to accomplish. And we showed her a path to new bikes, and that led to 2 new kids' bike sales, which is interesting. Well, you can't really build businesses off of that, right? But it led to her buying a bike, and now she's looking for her now 3rd bike. And it led to her car rack sale and accessory sales. We brought her into this industry when she was on the outside. We share this goal. We want to create more cycling families. We want to create more transformative experiences. And we all know, we all believe that it's better for our communities, planet, and the people we serve. It's better for us individually. I want to talk here about how do we do it, right? Because the shared goal needs to include our own profitability. We need to be a successful industry. We need to be successful retailers, brands, and industry as a whole. And I'm going to start with debt. Right? So one generation we've lost 22% of total cyclists in the United States. But what about the kids? Right? That same time period, we lost almost 40% of the number of kids riding bikes in one generation. But check this out. So total population in that time period has gone up by 20%. So we haven't lost 40% of kids on bikes. If you apply population growth to that number, there's half as many kids riding bikes today in the US as there used to be. One generation ago, we lost half the number of kids. This is an emergency. This is the headline on every bicycle retailer that isn't printed that should be. This is the biggest issue of our day, of our industry. We need to pay attention to this. No other sport would allow this number to exist. And I can tell you that baseball didn't allow it to exist. Baseball saw a 15% decline in youth cycling from the year 2010 to 2015. They called it an existential crisis, and they rallied the entire industry around it. And in 1 year, they increased youth baseball casual participation by 108%. Now baseball's on fire. If you have any kids out there who plug into baseball, baseball is on fire. So sure, yeah, like one generation ago, we were on like Pentium 2 processors and we were using Windows 98, and now like kids have supercomputer iPhones in their pocket and they're playing video games and all that. That's not the problem. It's not the problem. We've allowed those things to come in and take space. And baseball allowed those things to come in and take space. But baseball said, we're not going to allow that anymore. We're going to strategically and tactically go and do something about that. But it's also an opportunity, right? So we're about to be an $8 billion industry in the US. We're not quite there yet, but we're just about there. If we divide that by the 42 million people who are actively riding bikes in the US, it's about $189 per person that we earn every year from those people. What if we grow back to the number of kids on bikes just one generation ago? I'm not talking about like growing cycling to tremendous levels and amplifying the number of kids on bikes to astronomical heights. Just get back to where we used to be one generation ago. When we do that math, it's an almost $2 billion opportunity if we got that same amount of per rider transaction value every year. That's every year. This is over $1 billion, if not a $2 billion annual opportunity for the whole industry that we aren't talking about enough. We're not. This is hidden in plain sight, and we're not doing anything about it. So in 2012, I went to the Interbike breakfast, keynote address, and John Burke. So at the end of the address, John Burke, CEO of Trek, owner of Trek, he pulled out 2 jars, and he said, hey, first of all, if everybody in this room takes a leadership position in bikes and does something, we could transform America into a cycling country. We all got to do something. So he said, hey, between now, 2012, and 2025, I'm going to do something every day, and I've got a jar here full of beads. And every bead represents a day from now, 2012 to 2025. I'm going to do something every day to grow cycling. And he took one bead out, and he dropped it, and he dropped the mic, and it was like, whoa, my Irish emotions got all worked up. And I was like, yeah, John, I'm going to do something every day. And I started by selling my bike shop. I was like, this isn't enough. I don't need to help people get on a faster bike, a lighter bike, a stiffer bike. I want to get more families into the sport who aren't there. So we started a couple brands, and we moved to Bentonville, Arkansas. We right now have a bike shop here called Buddy Pegs that's in Bentonville, and we've created Pedal Kids. We split off our youth programming last year into a different brand because we want to grow this nationally. We want to grow it with your help. We want to show you how. But Pedal Kids is a youth cycling program intended to scale nationally from balance bike up through elementary and into the early middle school years. We have to start taking action because the conversations that are going on in the bike industry today are the same conversations from 2012. They're the same ones. And we can't just keep talking about this and coming to workshops and saying, like, we gotta do something about more kids on bikes, and look at these numbers, and what are we gonna do? So let's talk about some actionable steps we can do. There's 3 things I want to tell you about. As an industry, we've got to know these parents. We have to invest the time to know about our parent customers. They're out there. That story of Liz at the beginning, there's millions of those stories, millions of them waiting to be developed. But we got to know what they're thinking, right? We got to know what is inside their brain. I can tell you a couple things that we've learned. We've programmed over 6,000 individual kids. Almost every parent in America still feels that riding a bike is a pivotal part of childhood. It's like a milestone that every parent believes in, most parents believe in, right? Oh my God, what an opportunity. Every other sport would kill for that, right? They would kill to say like, oh, every parent thinks that their kid needs to do our sport. Number 2, parents do not know how to teach their kids how to ride. They do not know how to do it. Even parents in the bike industry who are super passionate about biking come to us. And I ask them all the time, like, are your kids into the sport? And they say, they're not really into it. They tried. They're just not into it. Like, no, it's not that they're not into it. It's that you don't know how to teach them, and that's okay. It's okay. Parents don't teach their kids much of anything these days. I'm a dad. My kid doesn't want to listen to me. Right? I pay for expert advice and coaching and programming to get the best experience for my child. Parents have no idea how to get their kids off training wheels. They have no idea that balance bikes is a thing. They really don't, not even in the bike industry. But they also care deeply about their child's future success and well-being and happiness. And the things that we deliver as a bike industry is what modern parents want. So we've got exactly what these parents want. They think their kid should ride a bike. What's the problem? Like, we should be killing it. We should be killing it as an industry. So I want to show another video here with Liz that hopefully exemplifies a little bit more of that.
But once we started biking, one thing I loved about it is I could disconnect when I'm on a bike because I don't have my phone in my hands. But also the kids, they didn't feel the need to be drawn to a screen, and conversation flowed. We got a lot closer. The time that we spend together is absolutely amazing. They're much more confident, definitely more confident. My confidence too. It's gotten all of us to step outside the box and try new things. Everyone is so kind and open. It's also a way for us to cope with different things in our life in a healthy way. So to me, it's an investment in the kids' future, my future, the future of our town. I mean, everything. So it's a no-brainer for me. Never thought we would be at this point. It's life-changing. It's amazing. It is literally the best investment we have ever made. Yeah.
Thank you. It is literally the best investment we have ever made. She's not unique. We talk to parents all the time and get those stories. I just picked one of them. Parents want what we have to sell them, and we're just not telling them. We're not filling the top of the funnel. We gotta welcome the Liz's in, through their kids, get her kids excited about biking. She'll come along. Modern parents, there's lots of research on this. Modern parents want to adventure with their kids. They don't send their kids off to do things without them. They go and do things with them. And there's this issue at play here that's hard to quantify and really have data around it. I'm sure there's some research that could be done, but I personally don't believe that kids aren't riding bikes because it's outdated. And I feared that. When we first hit the road, we traveled the country, and we started meeting parents around the country, and I feared, what if bicycles, time has passed? It's the hula hoop of today, right? Parents aren't interested, kids aren't interested, they've moved on to other things. Absolutely not true. I would say 99%, maybe it's 98.5% of kids who come through our programming love biking. Even the ones who come in and the parents say they're not into it, and the kid's grumpy, and they're really don't want to be there. And then in 30 minutes, they are loving it. Biking is fun, that feeling of freedom, adventure, that feeling of self-confidence that we all remember as kids learning how to ride a bike and still feel today. It still exists. Good news, it holds up against Fortnite. It totally does. We don't have to worry about that. But if we don't show them a path to learn without tears and frustration, then we lose them. And previously, this is my big hypothesis, see if I also get some head nods on this. When I was learning to ride a bike, and when a lot of you were learning to ride a bike, we were motivated by neighborhood freedom. If I learned to ride a bike, I could go out with my friends, away from mom and dad, on my own, all day long. The learning curve still sucked. It sucked for me. I did not have a fun time learning to ride a bike. I crashed a lot. I thought I'd never get it. I was super deflated. My confidence went down. But I was motivated, so I was like, if I figure this out, I am out of here. Not today, right? The parents are like, no, kids, sorry, you're not going out on my site. We're going to do things together. That's okay. I mean, I wish it was more, free-range kids, personally, but let's adjust. Let's get the family riding together. Let's give them opportunities and pathways for that. So we're not dependent on kids figuring out how to ride or parents figuring out how to ride on their own when the motivation is gone. Because what I see now is parents trying to teach their kids how to ride, and the kid has no idea why. Oh my God, this is terrible. I'm falling over, mom and dad's getting pissed now. They're applying all this pressure to perform because they remember the nostalgia of riding bikes. And they're like, you gotta do it, we gotta do this thing, and I feel bad as a parent, I feel like a terrible parent if I can't get you to ride. It's a disastrous recipe. With good education and coaching, that doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be tears and frustration. And how many of us have balance bikes in our shops or believe in balance bikes? Do you believe in balance bikes? Balance first method of teaching a kid how to ride? Awesome. Let's start sharing that with parents. Let's start sharing that with our community. Let's start leading by example in our shops. Okay, so second thing is training your team, right? There's a lot in this slide here. There's a lot of knowledge and information. It's product, it's psychographics, it's all kinds of things that we have to be thinking about to be able to actually deliver this message that we know is important. It makes us money, it's profitable, it saves the planet, it has all these good things. But we gotta train our staff to understand some of the basics of this conversation. So first of all, tangible things you can do in your shop. Understand how to answer this question. I remember from having more of an adult bike shop that this would happen all the time. And what would I do? I would go to the catalog and I would look at the sizing chart and I'd be like, well, how tall are they? I mean, it just says height ranges. Well, I don't know, they're somewhere in here. Well, I mean, if you knew how high they were, how tall they were, I could tell you what size bike. No, that's ridiculous. We are the category experts. Memorize this chart. Teach it to your staff. Make them know it. Hold them accountable. Test them. Walk up to them randomly and say, 5-year-old just walked in, what size wheel? We should know this. We are the experts. There should be no question about what size bike to put a kid on. Fitting the bike. Fitting the bike begins with ditching the training wheels. Training wheels are not the right way to ride a bike, to learn to ride a bike. They are not. I believe most of us in this room probably agree with that, right? But it's still a fringe thing. Balance bikes are fringe. They are. You think it's like mainstream? It's not. Parents don't know about balance bikes. Balance bikes aren't really in Walmart. They're just barely starting to come into Walmart. Balance first method of learning to ride a bike is not embraced by the bike industry. And why do I know that? Because I walk into every shop in America and I see a balance bike and a 16-inch wheel bike with training wheels on it. We're sending the wrong message. We're sending a message of, you can learn how to balance over here when you're 2 years old, but when you get older, now you gotta get on these struggle wheels over here. But when's the last time you see a kid on training wheels? It's not fun. They don't look like they're having fun. No one's having fun on training wheels. But we as an industry push that forward. We say balance is for a 2-year-old, training wheels are for the older kids. Training wheels teach the opposite of balance. Y'all need to know that. Training wheels teach you to lean the wrong way. Training wheels are doing damage to our industry. Training wheels are one of the biggest reasons why we're seeing a decline in recycling. Because they don't bring kids into the sport in a fun way. 3-year-olds should be pedaling bikes. That's when pedaling happens. Thousands of kids, I'm here to tell you. Most kids, high percentage, pedaling independently on 2 wheels, no training wheels, using handbrakes, 3 years old. 4 years old if they're a little delayed. Beyond training wheels, know about bike fit for kids. Seat height changes at different ages and different ability levels. An 8-year-old is learning to ride a bike, a 3-year-old is learning how to pedal. They're gonna have different seat heights, right? We have to know this as an industry. We have to share this knowledge, we have to embrace it, we have to be consistent with it. But once we get them on those bikes, let's take the time to make them fit. Let's give them proper reach with their brake levers. You probably do it with your adult customers. Get it all dialed in, do a little, pre-flight, a little fit out the door, if not a more comprehensive fit. Most of the kids' bikes have brake lever reach adjustments too. They're coated in blue Loctite. They're hard to adjust. I can show you the tool online that you can buy. That's a long-handled 2mm Allen wrench that gets right in there, super easy. Boom, bring those brake levers in. Don't do it at the time of delivery. Have your mechanics do it. Kid's bike gets built, put in the brake lever reach adjustments. Brands, would be awesome if you did that at the factory. Stack height. Every kid's bike comes out of the box and all the headset spacers are below the stem. These are small things, but you can do these in your shop, right? Tangible things. When you're building those kids' bikes, put the spacers to the top of the stem. Kids get on bikes at the smallest size that they can get on the next wheel size. Learning to ride a bike or going to the next wheel size with your handbars up by your eyebrows is not fun. We don't need to be doing that. Mechanics could be correcting that as soon as they build the bike, and right out the door, those kids could have a way better experience. There's a lot more to it, but I just want to give you a couple little things to bite on there. If you're training your staff, consider some events, simple events, in your parking lot, or in a park, in a rec center, wherever it may be. I suggest your parking lot. Your team, your staff's already there, and you're bringing customers to your shop. That can be bicycle rodeos. That can be balance bike play dates. That can be learn to pedal classes, because you're all out there teaching kids how to ride, right? Everyone's taught a kid how to ride a bike this year. Let's do more of that. Every employee in the bike industry at every level should be teaching kids how to ride a bike every year. And when we teach them how to ride a bike, we should do it properly, right? We don't want to hand them the baseball bat upside down. That's what we're doing right now with training wheels. We're handing that baseball bat upside down and saying, yeah, grab the fat part and try to hit the ball at the skinny part. This could happen in your shop. We can teach you how, we can help you with that. We've developed these flat pack ramps, we've got curriculum, we've got methodology. This can be all around the country, and it will make a difference on those numbers. It will, because kids will find a joy in cycling again. Parents will see it, they'll see the confidence grow in their kid, they'll be getting what they want as a parent, and then they'll want to ride together with their kids. This is how we do it. We do it in the parking lots of bike shops, in community centers, in parks, in neighborhoods, in cul-de-sacs. Okay, if you're a brand in the audience, there's some things you can help with. I won't go into the long list. I'm just going to talk on one thing that's really important. Stop shipping bikes with training wheels. It is a waste of money, it's a waste of resources, and it is sending conflicting messages to the entire country about how to come into our sport. You don't need to be doing it anymore, brands. There are disabled kids who need training wheels. There are parents that won't believe you when you say balance first, take the pedals off any wheel size and I'll show you how to ride. They won't believe you. No big deal, there's an accessory sale on the wall for you. Have it on the slot wall, have it ready, have it in the back, whatever. You got a bag of training wheels, we're gonna sell it to you, it's 15 bucks. It's 20 bucks, it's $5, it's free, here you go. Why are they coming in every single bike box from the factory? When we all, as an industry, know we don't teach kids or adults how to ride with training wheels. The product managers who have kids in the bike industry, they don't teach their kids how to ride with training wheels, but they're speccing training wheels on every single bike still. It's a massive issue, massive issue. I think we can get behind something here. I think we could have a rallying cry. It's not gonna come from me, it's gonna come from us if you guys are interested. But I think we can get to 20 million kids on bikes, which would bring us essentially back to where we were one generation ago. I think we could do it by the year 2030. I think we could have 20 million kids on bikes by 2030, but we gotta start taking action. And the battle for those kids begins on Training Wheel Beach. That's our beachhead. We gotta start somewhere. Let's start with training wheels. Let's get behind modern methodology for teaching kids how to ride and say, no more training wheels. We're done as an industry. We're cutting the cord, we're putting them off to the side, we're not using them anymore. Because we want more kids to have fun riding bikes, and we're gonna learn how to do it, and we're gonna give them the right equipment to do that with. So that's my call to action. We've got a QR code over on our table, Pedal Kids table over there. If you're interested, hit the QR code, fill out the form. We'd love to have more of these conversations. But I also have a little bit of a special surprise for you. And you might hear some noise out this back wall here. If you go out the side of this room, we set up one of these small parking lot activations that we call bicycle playgrounds. And we've got some local kids and one of our coaches out there showing how it can be done. I want you to envision this in your shop parking lot, this in your neighborhood, this at your community center. This is how we modernize bikes. This is how we do what baseball did for baseball and brought it into the next generation and then reversed the numbers. We met parents and kids where they're at and we gave them snackable, bite-sized experiences that are full of joy and fun and expert coaching and authority. And we welcomed them in and we said, hey, we want you to be part of this party. So with that, I'm gonna shut her down, give you an opportunity to see what's going on outside and answer any questions that you might have.